Hello, and thank you for joining us. This is the 13th hour, and today I have with me one of my great friends, Mikayla Denise Robinson. She's agreed to come and share her story. Mikayla is a local, national, and international sensation, performing artist and drag queen extraordinaire. I'm really excited to talk with Mikayla about some of her experiences, both well, maybe some that we'll have to save for another episode. But she has a really great story to share with us and some really helpful insights. So without further ado, let's get started.
Mikayla Denise Robinson. I'm 34, Columbus, Ohio resident. Started drag back in 2008, and it was just a safe place for me when it came to being able to have an outlet to perform and entertain. Back in 2006, got a diagnosis of being HIV positive, and so that was just a moment in time where I was kind of afraid, didn't know what was going to happen. I was just like, I was 19, staying on my own, newly trying to have my independence and things like that. And so like in the beginning times, in the beginning point, I handled everything on my own. I didn't tell my family or anything about nothing until 6 years later, because it was just still something privately that I was trying to figure out and gravitate to. It was still something like that took a while for me to be like, this is real. This is a reality. Because I was in denial, because I was like, I was just the nice boy. I didn't have many partners. But I know the person who I contracted from. I know the night that it happened and stuff like that. And it was like my first love, first boyfriend situation. With coming out the closet, I knew HIV was something within the community. I really didn't have a lot of friends who I knew who was positive, or a lot of people talking about it even at that point in time. So even the person I contracted from, it wasn't like the people that he was hanging with or himself was even talking about it and being open about it. I went to a doctor's office, an ER, felt sick and things like that or whatever, and I thought it was due to my diet at the time of binge eating Little Debbie's, and they were like, no, like they ran a lot of tests and stuff or whatever, and then they was like, well, do you think there could be a possibility that you could have contracted HIV or been around? And I was like, well, I mean, I am gay, my boyfriend is right here, but they didn't give me a test there. They said that I needed to go somewhere and get tested. And so that was like one of the first, I think, experiences that was just like, you know, you're the ER, you're the hospital. Why would you not test me if you feel like this is something that you should test and give me that result and let me know? So it took a few weeks. And then I went to a testing center, and that's where I got my results from. And then from there, I had got a booklet of just different physicians and doctors and infectious doctors. And so I went to the infectious doctor clinic, and that's where I was going to. And that was just a horrible situation where I left from. But like during that time frame, trying to figure out, trying to get housing, trying to get insurance, trying to get stable with a job. But I did have an experience that one of the physicians that I was going to, he just kept asking me, are you ready to start medicine? Are you ready to start? And I was like, well, I'm not ready yet. Like, I don't know because of the cost. I would be scared because I'm like, if I do start, I want to be able to maintain and stay healthy. The one thing I did know about being HIV positive was if you started medicine, it was a lifelong commitment. But he said something to me in a sense like, you know, you're never going to be financially stable. And when he told me that statement, it was just like a driving force to cause me to want to push even harder to become something greater good, to where I could be able to manage and be successful. But even in that time, like I just didn't have faith in the government and the stuff and how stuff was going, to where like I would be able to maintain and have a healthy lifestyle with starting medicine and dealing with the medical field.
Okay, I have to stop you. So you said that you didn't have faith, and you know we really talk a lot about having that trust and having that faith. Can you describe like that feeling of not really having it necessarily for the medical establishment?
With the people, it was just like, you know, you don't see yourself. You know, you're not represented. So I never went in and really saw a lot of POC doctors, POC nurses, POC people, even start from the reception desk. And so it was just like, if I wasn't seeing myself, it was kind of hard to trust in somebody telling me medical knowledge about myself. Black people have always been a testing tool. It's harder for us to get health care. It's harder for us to maintain like full-time jobs where you can get health care. Because at first I was working 3 to 4 part-time jobs and still never could get health care.
Right.
So it was such a struggle, but I was able to get like the public assistance at 19, trying to handle everything on my own as a young adult. That was a troubling time. Like you can learn in the books, but just like even when I was school, what they tried to teach me mostly was about slavery and things like that, and to try to diminish who I was as a person and to make me feel like this is all you can be. But I had to learn beyond that and, you know, do studies on my own. So when it came to dealing with people in the medical field, I just didn't have faith in the people that were talking to me constantly about pushing things on me that I wasn't ready for. And so I was like, I don't see you like really giving me the data and the information about people in this walk who have maintained or survived and lived. All you do is see a lot of stuff publicly and just worldwide, the numbers of people who are dying. No matter, even if they're showing just the stuff in Africa, it's always a person of color just dying and dying. You're not seeing many successful stories of people living and thriving. It was me dealing with a white doctor and a white physician, and I just felt like at that point, as a black person who was positive, and it was early on before we got to, we was a good point of having great medicine, but it was still, I felt like it was a testing field when it comes to POC people in the medical field. And so I was just like, you're trying to put me on medicine to kill me. I was like, I know that the world considers HIV to be a death sentence, so it was just like, I wanted to still live. I wanted to thrive. I was like, my body is not to a point to where it says that I need medicine. My health is fine. My numbers are coming out fine. So why would I take medicine? But if I would have known what I knew now was I could have been undetectable earlier. Because like once you start your regimen, it's the HIV in your system can start becoming dormant and like the numbers can get lower and stuff. And the one main person that a lot of people do know is that Eazy-E died. And then we had Magic Johnson, but it was like a lot of stuff wasn't discussed after Magic Johnson disclosed. So a lot of people just felt and didn't know that even with him, he probably was undetectable for years because he was in a point to where he had money and stuff or could be a part of some of the studies if he decided to even figure out what medicines was going to work and what was going to be beneficial. Me as an inner city kid, I didn't have that experience. So it was just like, you're telling me something, but you're not explaining the benefits and what it's really going to do. And it took until I left that doctor and got with the doctor that I have and that I've been with since 2012 to get that educational point. And it was like, I don't know if it was a sense because she was a female doctor, but it was like a motherly sense of, I want my child to survive and thrive and live. So let me explain these type of things and let me break stuff down to you in a sense to where you will understand it and get it. And I was like, I understood and I respected that compared to the doctor that I was going to that was just, I felt like barking at me but not trying to get me to understand.
Thinking back on that time period, what do you think would have happened if you stayed with that original physician?
I took a friend with me just so they can, get a feel and understanding and experience within, like, and knowing somebody that was out and positive to see what the experience was like. And like they asked questions and stuff about medicine and different things just to check and see. This physician wasn't trying to even, I don't know, like, the physician that I'm currently still with, like they wanted to meet my mom. They wanted to meet people that was in my life and that was going to be a part of my support team. And the other physician, they just, you need to get on medicine. You need to get on medicine. Like it was just like a push and it was a steady, consistent push. But it was like a dry push to where it wasn't like you have an ounce of, okay, I want you to become undetectable. I want you to get to a point to where your numbers are lower or this is higher, your energy levels. Like, it wasn't nothing being explained. I know it's like you got to have your patient-client relationship, but I think even within having it within the medical spaces, it's just you going the extra mile to really let somebody know and get educated because I'm like, the terminology is the things that I think that keep a lot of people away. And when you don't understand all the bigger terminologies, and I remember being in hair school and you got to hear about, we know relaxer and we know perm, but it's ammonia thioglycide and all these long words. I'm like, girl, what is all that? Like, honey, it's perm and relaxer. Like, So I think it was just having that and like, I didn't feel anything. I didn't get anything besides, okay, I'm a client, I'm a number. And I didn't want to be just a number. And I didn't want to be just a statistic. I was like, if I'm going to be a number, I want to be greater within these numbers. And I just wasn't getting that type of relationship with them. So it just, I felt the need that I needed to move forward and go somewhere else and try something different and see. And I'm grateful that I did because I don't know if I would have ever started medicine if I would have stayed there. Like, I don't know if I would have, it would have always been a combative thing. And testing wise, as far as the check and make sure everything was consistent and stuff, I don't know if they would have kept up with trying to make sure. And because like it was just free assistance and stuff or whatever. So I just didn't know if I was going to get the type of care that I needed to actually get me to move forward to make sure that I maintained a healthy life. I had to get on medicine because my T cell numbers and my everything was to a point to where it could have been borderline AIDS. So I didn't want to get to that point, and so I was like, okay, I'm going to take medicine. And I went to the medical clinic that was created by the testing center that I went to. I was a part of a community advisory board to help approve that center. And so I was like, well, you was a part of the board to help approve the center. Why not give the center a try? but it also was in the center, in the heart of downtown, to where it had a name that just spoke. This is the place where everyone that has HIV go, and it was just public. But I had to have the mentality of, it's my personal health. It's something that I'm taking care of, and I really don't care what anybody say or see if they see me going in and out of this center. So building the relationship with that physician, like from day one, it was just like a great experience. And if I can't build a trusting factor with you, if I can't build something with you as far as I felt like long term, because this battle is a long term, lifetime thing. And so it wasn't like I wanted to bounce around and go to a lot of doctors, a lot of therapists, a lot of things, but that's what kept happening. So it was just like, it was hard to maintain a steady camaraderie with somebody, and then you have to retell your story over or relive it. So it's like, I just didn't want to keep reliving the experience. And then I was like, if I start medicine, what if you change and you're not my doctor? Then I have to go to like, so it was just like, I don't think people was thinking of those type of things and those connections of connecting your personal health with the scientific health as far as the aspects of everything.
Well, you really brought up a lot. Can you explain maybe a little bit better, a little more into detail, why you were seeing different, so as a trans person, I oftentimes tell people in healthcare that, as a low income trans person of color, oftentimes you don't have the luxury of having healthcare, number one, medical insurance. Then going to find that person who's going to, serve all of your needs you feel comfortable with, and then stay in that relationship with them for a number of years. I think for a lot of people, who have different privileges, white privilege, class privilege, and whatnot, the idea that you're going to find a physician in 2010 and have that person until, like that, for a lot of people, that's, and not just Black or trans or whatnot. For a lot of people, I think that's the case, especially if you don't have health insurance. So you end up with this, I call it like a patchwork, and I think back on, I was a student for a number of years, and I think back too, like, I couldn't even tell you who I went to see. I don't even know. Like, I saw him one time 10 years ago. It's not like I have this relationship with this person. So can you talk a little bit on your own experience? Like, how, did you leave different practices because of experiences that you had? Or, sometimes I think too, for gender nonconforming people, we feel like we are educating the doctors and the nurses. They want to come and guinea pig with us and, like look and probe and poke and things. So just, this new physician that you have, what are some of the top qualities about your relationship with them?
It wasn't like I was going to a doctor's appointment. It was like I was just sitting and talking and, having good conversation. But everything about the medical part, it just became something to where I was thriving on wanting to learn more. That was something that had drove me to, after I learned and went through my experiences or built relationships and stuff like that, to where I could have people that I could send folks to or have the resources to even reach out to. Like, I'm trying to explain this to somebody or trying to give somebody this type of education. But I was able to get enough pamphlets and handouts and things to just start being around stuff to where I was able to get that. And so even when it goes back to just building that faith, just the generosity of the reception to her nurse, to her going back again to follow up, and then the relationship built with the pharmacy. And it was like everybody knew me by name, everybody knew me by my personality. It's just like family, it's just like love, it's support. They support my drag career, they support my trying to find myself within my identity, trying to figure out what it is that who I was, where I was. It's been a battle of trying to figure out, are you trans, are you not? You're not just a regular gay man. It's something more to you, and it's something more within you. They encouraged me to push myself to be more vocal. They said that I could be like a voice for the trans and non-binary community, for people of color. I became a client favorite, like I was something. So it was just like, but people were checking in on me, and it was just like, even when it came to like, socially, if people saw me out and stuff or whatever, it wasn't like it was a bombard of this, but it was still like, a nod or something, just checking on you, just like, I see you're doing good, I see, like, that type of stuff is what caused me to just want to thrive in my medical relationship with everybody, from my dentist to my therapist to my counselor to when I had case management and all that type of stuff. But like I said prior, I got tired of switching with a lot of people, so I did put myself out a lot of that stuff at one point in time. And for so long, it's my story. It's my story. It's going to benefit me. I didn't know if it was going to benefit something for somebody else. I didn't know if it was going to help somebody else. And And I also just felt like, you know, the negatives that could come along if I came out and disclosed, or what could happen. What would it be like for my family? What would it be like for people who are like my close friends and stuff like that? So for years within my health, and them trying to help me get to that, even with my regular health of trying to get me healthy, trying to get me to get a good eating plan, trying to get me to get physical health and my mental health, making sure I was getting the therapy and stuff like that. Like, she just really cared and put that passion into everything that was connected to what could wear and tear my body down. Anything that was stressful to me, she would give me good conversations to let me know, like, if you need to erase it or get it out of your life, then get that out of your life and stuff like that. When it came to me, she pushed me to apply for the job that I have currently. She pushed me to go for the things that I went for when I went for my title, for my community platform, what I spoke on for trans issues and being a face and being a voice. But I think I'm just grateful and thankful for her, because of that, it allowed me to get more into my dreams and aspirations of who I want to be and where I want to go. I just think in the medical field, the doctors do have to build some type of personal communication with their clients if they want to see long-term healthy outcomes. So she put me on vitamins to learn how to swallow and take the pills and stuff like that. And so within my journey, I started taking medicine back in 2012, and ever since then I've been undetectable. So for the past 8 years, I've been undetectable from having a good medical regimen and treatment and having a good medical team. But that was just an experience that really took me on a whole different plateau in my life, and just how I went forward in everything that I chose to do, and trying to become something successful, and to try to prove to everybody that no matter what the circumstances was, you can always accomplish and become whatever it is that you truly do desire in your life, even with being HIV positive.
Wow, yeah. Your story is really inspiring, and I know that it touches a lot of people's hearts.